I'm talking about distance healing in relation to food intolerances, making me into a calmer, more contented, more grounded, more centered human being on a day-to-day basis. This isn't a playlist, and so if you want to understand what I'm talking about here, you might need to hear some of my past films. I used a healer called Fernando Jorge, and I'm suggesting to people that if you can't come and see him, then find a healer near you that you feel like you can trust. There's been some good feedback from other people about what they've been able to do for them. I will put a link in the description below so that you can connect with him if you want to and you're not too far from the south of France. Okay, so I've talked about how Fernando was able to be with me while I was eating my food and to help me with that process of healing and changing the way that my relationship or my body related to food, in particular the foods that I was intolerant to. But I think there were other more subtle things that I will talk about later in how my relationship to food has changed in other ways too, which is also fascinating. So you'll have to wait to hear that. Now I'm talking about the distance healing that happened for about a week, every single night, pretty much, for half an hour between the time of 6 and 7 o'clock. Yeah, he told me it would happen. I didn't quite know what I was in for, and I'm going to say now that for certain kinds of healing, you can't be someone that is kind of not up for stuff that's hardcore, not up, you can't just be like namby-pamby frilly, want to stop right now. You've got to be like totally prepared to go through the process from beginning to end, because if you're not, you can't heal yourself. I mean, it probably also depends on how much rubbish and junk and fear and stuff that you've got to kind of work out as a human being. I think maybe I possibly had quite a lot to get rid of and I probably still do have lots to get rid of because I'm not perfect, but you've got to be up for something that can be really intense, really difficult, like to get your head round or to actually just experience when it's happening. So now I've said that, I'm going to tell you what happened. I would feel at the beginning of this distance healing that in my solar plexus, which is just here in your body, that there was kind of almost like a squeezing and a kind of intensity to that, a kind of almost like a pressure all the way around that energetic center or chakra, you might want to call it. I knew at that point that he was connecting with me, and I was like, okay, it's happening. And obviously the first time it happened, I didn't know how long it would last and I didn't know what it would be like, so it was a bit of a shock the first time. I had to basically go to the bathroom. And in a past film, I talked about a session where I either wanted to be sick or scream to kind of expel and get rid of what I'd been holding inside of me and not expressing for so long. So even though in this week I wasn't actually sick, I felt like I was going to be. And I certainly spat out a lot of bile, I think you call it, from my stomach. I also cried a lot. In that crying, there was kind of screaming at times, or kind of shouting, or just kind of a kind of real mix of sounds that were just coming out, that just had to come out of me. And it's like I had absolutely no choice about it. I couldn't have stopped what was going on. I couldn't have stopped that process like halfway through or 10 minutes in because I've had enough and that's enough already. I had to go right to the end of this. So I did. It was seriously intense, and after those half-hour sessions, it would take me some time to kind of collect myself back to what you might call normal Joanna. And so I'd usually just lie down for a bit in my bed, take some deep breaths, listen to some nice calming music, look at the view, and just try and collect myself again after that intense healing session. I was living in a house with a friend of mine, and there were times when she was there when this was happening and she could clearly hear what was going on. So for my own benefit really, and for her, the second time it happened, I was like, right, I'm going to put some music on while this is going on. So I got my little Bluetooth stereo music box thing, my tunes, so that my kind of crying and shouting and noises and spitting out horrible stuff from my stomach was kind of covered up by the sound. I think that helped both of us. I felt a little bit more at ease just to be able to just let rip whatever had to come out, and feel a bit more kind of free with all of that. When I did speak to him later about these distance sessions, he said, yeah, sometimes it will be easier and sometimes it won't be easier. So, I kind of had to be ready for anything. And that when I saw him again, it was after that week had passed and a bit more time had passed, and there was some evenings when I hadn't had those intensive distance healing sessions, and so things had calmed down. And I was like, just talking to him about, what was that? What could it be like in the future? So that's what he told me, and that basically you can't know what you need next to help you go further down your road to well-being and health and happiness. Sometimes you have to go through intense situations like I did, or experiences, to feel lighter. Because afterwards, even though it was horrible, afterwards I would feel lighter. I would feel like I'd got rid of loads of stuff that I didn't need to hold on to anymore. And I felt like, okay, this is doing me good. There's a good reason why I'm doing this. Emotionally lighter, mentally lighter, physically lighter, just like tensions were kind of disappearing, physical tensions. So on lots of different levels, and energetic tensions, and sweeping it away, bit by bit, little bit by little bit, step by step. That's what was needed at the beginning of this process of healing. He said at times it's going to be hard, and it's been a number of months since then, and I haven't had any healing sessions that have been harder than that. If you need any kind of reassurance, it's there. And so that's been more pleasant, obviously, but I'm in a different place, and I think that I don't need that kind of intensity of healing anymore, because I've moved on and kind of past that stage. So I think that's the reason, or that's how I would describe it now. It might be different in the future. So if any of you out there have been having healing sessions from different healers, good or bad experiences, then please write them below, and we can start chatting, responding to one another, and helping each other on this journey to feeling very different to how we were, in the past, and that we can be feeling good in the present moment, noticing the present, being content with that, accepting what is here right now in a completely different way than we might have been able to in the past. So those are my words for today. I hope they have been of help to you personally, or to someone else that you could maybe transfer this to, if you feel like it would help them. I wish you all the best. I will see you again very soon. Lots of love. Bye.